Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. Uh, And as is our custom, I'd like to introduce Officer Rod, who's with the Cobb County Police Department. He is here representing all our first responders today. And if we'd all please rise, Officer Rod will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Officer Rod. For those of you that are here for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a little insight on how we're going to conduct the meeting today. The first thing that we will concern ourselves with is the consent agenda. These are applications that not only this board has considered, but our professional, our engineering staff, and also our zoning staff. To our knowledge, there's no known opposition to these particular cases. So as we go forward, Mr. John Peterson will read these cases into the record. And as he does, the applicant, he or she, will identify themselves by raising their hand. As we read these into the record, if there's anybody here in opposition to any of these particular cases, likewise, if they would identify themselves, and if we do have opposition, we will pull that particular case and hear it in its regular numeric order. Next course of business will be our regular agenda. It looks like we only have one case on there today. Again, Mr. Peterson will read these into the record. The applicant will identify themselves. Likewise, if there's any opposition, they also will identify themselves. Our procedure goes as follows. The applicant at that time will have a 10-minute period to make their presentation to this board. And then likewise and collectively, those in opposition would have a 10-minute period to make their opposition known to this board. So if you have more than one speaker, just be cognizant of the fact that you have a total of a 10-minute period. With that said, I'm going to ask Mr. Peterson if he has any special comments, and then we'll go from there. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are two cases on today's printed agenda which have been withdrawn and will not be heard today. First case is variance case at B77, IBM ESCU. That case has been withdrawn without prejudice, so B77 will not be heard today. Variance case B84, Columbia Properties Incorporated. The case has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today, so B84 has been withdrawn. I would like to ask the people in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please turn the volume off. Ringing of the phones does interfere with broadcast and presentation, so if you have a cell phone, please turn the volume off. The following announcement concerns variance applications requesting a reduction in lot size or a reduction in public road frontage relating to the official code of Cobb County, Chapter 134, adopted by the Board of Commissioners on July 28, 2015. Applicants are advised that variance applications requesting a reduction in lot size or public road frontage, which are approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals, takes the form of a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, who makes the final determination whether to grant a special exception for the requested lot size reduction or road frontage reduction. There's one case on today's agenda which just applies, and that's variance case V79, Russell A. Mullins. The applicant and/or representative is instructed that if the Board of Zoning Appeals approves the variance, a representative would need to be present at the Board of Commissioners zoning hearing on Tuesday, September 19, 2017, at 9 a.m. for the final determination. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to start the consent agenda.
All right, let's jump right in, John.
Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals variance hearing consent agenda for August 9, 2017. Variance case V74, Racetrack Petroleum Incorporated. Request a variance to allow an accessory structure, the proposed dumpster enclosure, to be to the side of the principal building. Allow the main racetrack parallelogram logo sign to protrude from the building face to 6 feet 5 inches, 5.5, 6 feet 5 and 5/8 inches, and to increase the maximum allowable electronic sign area from 32 square feet to 80 square feet per side in land lot 499 and 503 of the 18th District. The property is located on the northwest corner of Discovery Boulevard and Mapleton Parkway. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Letter from Mr. Parks F. Huff, dated August 8, 2017, including the attached landscape plan, and sign renderings contained in the variance analysis. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V74? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V78, Stadium Walk, request a variance to allow a blade sign to project more than the allowable 48 inches from the building, and it will project 58.5 inches in land lots 850, 851, 876, and 877 of the 17th district. The property is located on the west side of Circle 75 Parkway, south of Windy Hill Road. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V78? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V79, Russell A. Mullins requests a variance to waive the minimum public road frontage from required 75 feet to 35 feet for proposed tract 1 and to 0 feet for proposed tract number 2. Waive the minimum lot size for a parcel that has no public road frontage from required 80,000 square feet to 40,012 square feet, and to waive the rear setback on proposed tract 1 from required 35 feet to 29 feet, and that is existing, in land lot 603 of the 16th district. The property is located on the east side of Weeping Oak Trace, north of Post Oak Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Email from Alec N. Sedke dated August 8th, 2017. Traffic comments, site plan review comments, stormwater management comments, and fire department comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V79? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V80, Joy V. Smith requested variance to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 5 feet, adjacent to the east property line in land lot 696 of the 17th district. The property is located on the north side of Lee Road, west of Central Garden Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to development and inspections comments and stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V80? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V81, Danny G. Walls requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, an existing more than 1,000 square foot detached garage to be to the side of the principal building. Waive the side setback for an accessory structure over 1,000 square feet for the existing more than 1,000 square foot detached garage from required 100 feet to 10 feet adjacent to the west property line. Allow parking and/or access to parking areas in a residential district to be on a non-hardened surface, and to allow a second electrical meter on a residential lot in land lot 158 of the 20th district. The property is located on the south side of Old Stroudsboro Road, east of Galloway's Farm Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to development inspections comments and no living or business use of the accessory structure. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V81? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V82, Adrian Prost and Lily Prost request a variance to waive the rear setback from required 35 feet to 15 feet in land lot 134 of the 1st district. The property is located at the southwestern terminus of Carlisle Croft Court on the east side of Willio Rill Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the site plan as shown that's contained in the variance analysis. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V82? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V83, Joe Lane requests a variance to waive the side setback for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for a proposed approximately 828 square foot detached garage from required 100 feet to 3 feet adjacent to the west property line, and to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 7.5 feet, and that is existing, adjacent to the east property line in land lot 157 of the 1st district. The property is located on the north side of Rebel Road, west of River Mill Circle. Staff recommends approval, subject to development and inspection comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V83? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V85, Racetrack Petroleum Incorporated requests a variance to allow the main racetrack parallelogram logo sign to protrude from the building face to 6 feet 5 5/8 inch. Increase the maximum allowable electronic sign area from 32 square feet to 80 square feet per side, and to reduce the length of a parking stall from 19 feet to 18 feet deep in land lot 144 of the 19th District. The property is located on the north side of Dallas Highway at the county line bordering Paulding County. Staff recommends approval, subject to traffic comments and signage renderings contained in the variance analysis. The applicant's representative is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V85? Let the record show there's no one opposed, and that completes the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman and Board.
Okay, it is back to this board for discussion, comments on any of the cases. If there's no discussion, comments, I'll open up.
Motion that they be. I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, I've got a motion.
Second.
Second, okay. No other comments? Call for the vote. All in favor signify by voting. Okay, it is a 4-0 vote, so we approve that 4-0. Miss Williams, by the way, is out on surgery leave. She just had surgery yesterday, and we expect her back next month. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that were on the consent agenda, your business is complete with us for today. You're welcome to stay. If you leave, please leave quietly, and we'll continue on with our business. Okay, John. John, you go ahead and read that other case.
Yes, sir. Variance case V76, Brian and Tracy Pacone request a variance to allow an accessory structure, which is a 185 square foot wooden storage shed, to be located in front of the principal building. We have the front setback for an accessory structure, under 650 square feet for a 185 square foot storage shed, required 35 feet to 6 feet, and waive the side setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for the 185 foot square foot storage shed, required 10 feet to 5 feet adjacent to the south property line, and land lots 511 and 512 of the 16th District. The property is located on the south side of Rockbridge Road, east of Bells Ferry Road. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V76? Let the record show there's 2 people here in opposition. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
Okay, those of you that are going to give testimony, the applicant and those in opposition, come forward. Miss Bates is our officer of the day. She will swear you in. Okay, now the way we proceed, the first is the applicant. If you would come forward and come to the microphone, and we're going to give you a 10-minute period to tell us about the application and everything you want us to know about what you want to do. So before we get started, for the purpose of the record, sir, if you would, please give us your name.
My name is Brian Pacone.
Okay, Brian, tell us what you want.
Unfortunately, I didn't realize it wasn't supposed to be built ahead of time. I thought you didn't need a permit for a shed or whatever, and didn't realize some of the code violations that happened. So this shed is already on my property. Reason being is it was placed there because it's basically the flattest part of my yard. My yard is in unusual shape. It's not square, rectangular. It's pie-shaped with long side yards.
Yeah, now, this is what we're looking at. Is that?
Yes, sir.
That shows the picture. We have audio visual. If you have pictures or anything you want to show us, no, if you just give it to that gentleman there, he'll put them up on the screen. And you can describe the pictures. They stay right there at the podium. That way we can hear you.
Okay, sorry.
And what we're going to do is we're going to give you a pointer and a microphone, and you can point at the pictures. We'll show you how to do that in 1 second.
Okay, thank you. All right. On that screen. All right, the following picture is just the front of my house from directly across the street from my
Okay.
front door. As you can see with the accessory structure, though it is, I guess, considered in front of my house, it's not even visible.
Well,
And-
show us where the accessory structure is.
It's not in the picture. It would be
Okay, that's
further,
fine.
because of the first picture, how you saw how the shape of my lot.
Sure,
it's-
we understand. Yes, sir.
Okay. Same thing. You can't see
Okay.
the shed in the picture from front of my house.
Okay.
This is the shed itself, taken from looking if you were coming up Bells Ferry Road,
Yes, sir.
as we state. Go ahead.
There you go.
This cement piece here is a pad for a storm drain that's there. So, I put that to kind of block keeping kids away from a hazardous thing that's open.
Is that your storm drain or is that the county's?
Counties,
Okay, I wanted to get that on the record.
yes. And I made sure, with the placement of the shed, that it wasn't, encroaching, that if
Sure.
they had any
Yes, sir.
maintenance or whatever, that, they have full accessibility to the drain.
Okay,
This is just basically the view. If my shed's not there, what you'd be seeing. So, again, like I was saying, it was flattest part of my yard. This is just showing a backyard that's basically all slope. A large retaining wall that's been there for 40 years since they built the property. That's basically the other side going up the backyard. How you actually get up into the backyard. And again, that's just the wall from my patio, that there's really no space in my backyard for such a structure to store things like, lawn chemicals, fertilizer, gasoline for my lawnmower, power tools, things I don't want my children getting into, that I could lock away safely. This following picture here is coming down Bells Ferry Road and of my shed. So as you can see, there's a lot of trees there. That structure there is actually, their house faces Bells Ferry, so it's in their backyard, but that's actually a garage. So again, there's a structure right near my shed. I didn't realize, seeing that there wasn't a problem, that there'd be a problem with my shed. But it is very wooded and concealed coming down the road. Eventually I'd like to landscape around it, but once I was informed that there was a violation, I stopped everything, didn't want to spend any money doing anything else in case it has to be removed.
yes, sir.
And again, that's just a shed. So as you can see, one, it's the only place, which honestly is, I guess, not even in compliance. I thought it was 6 feet off the property line for an accessory structure as a shed under 200 square feet. But again, in my research, I found wrong information on the code. But basically, it's the only place it could fit. And if it was up any further, like, as far as moving it, there wouldn't be any room. Like, it would literally touch the driveway that I couldn't landscape around it eventually to, kind of camouflage it more from the other direction.
Okay.
So, but that's pretty much.
All right, anything else you'd like to tell us? You could give him back that microphone and come back up to the podium, Brian. You've done a very good job. I know it's a little nerve-wracking, a little nervous for you there, but you've done a very nice job. Now, here's another picture. Is this a picture of your property again?
It is, sir.
Okay. Is there anywhere else on the property, the obvious questions we're going to ask you, is there anywhere else where that shed can go?
There's not.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to tell us?
We tried to purchase a nice shed. It fits in with the style of the house. If you look at the shape of the roof line, the shed has the same gabled style roof as the house. It's shingled to match the house's shingles. The siding is actually the same siding that's on the garage of the house. It's painted in matching complementary colors. I did everything I could to try to make it, as nice and appealing. I went out and spent money to have a nice shed built. So, like I said, as far as whatever hardship or whatever, I'm trying to indicate, having 3 small children, there's things I just want them to stay out of. And as far as the space, we needed it for a storage to keep them away and, hopefully have a car in the garage, but, all the bicycles and other things that accumulate with children. But other than that, just hopefully able to come up with some sort of way to keep my shed.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right, Brian, thank you. If you would, just please have a seat. And at this time, we'll hear from the opposition. would, give us your name, please, first, ma'am.
Kelly Christopher.
Kelly, okay, Miss Christopher, go ahead and tell us what you want to tell us.
I live directly across the street from the Picones, and as you can see, they have a beautiful home, absolutely beautiful home. They've painted it beautifully, takes wonderful care of the property, but it's just hideous looking. It's the first thing you see when you come into our lovely community. When you first turn onto Bell's Ferry, there's a couple of trees that block it, but you move just a few feet beyond that and you see this monstrosity at the very end of his driveway. He did everything he could to make it look good, but you could put a Rolls Royce there and it's going to look terrible because of where it is. So I think it would affect property values, certainly. It does block the view a little bit as you're coming into our community. If they're backing out of their driveway, I just have to be more watchful now because the shed blocks that view. And his kids are out there playing. He's got dogs that are out there playing. I think it creates theft opportunities. It's a wonderful, if you're going to break into a shed, it sits at the very end of his driveway, which invites, I'm just thinking, more
Right.
crime into the community. Who knows if that would happen, but there's that possibility. He has an extended two-car garage on his property. They never have both their cars in the garage. There's plenty of room. That's where I have to keep all my yard stuff, is in one half of my garage. There's plenty of room in there for my riding lawnmower, and all my gardening tools all go in my garage. He's got twice the garage space I do. When I first bought the house, I had a cement slab on the side of my property. I live directly, go to your left with your little, there, that's
You're
my
right
house
there,
right there.
okay.
I had a cement slab there, and my parents parked their motorhome there, and a week later, there was a notice on my door to move it in 3 days. So, and it was on a cement slab on the side of my garage. And I moved it. No problem, it was an eyesore for somebody, move it. So, again, he's done everything he could to make that shed look nice. It's just in a horrible location. So, and my understanding is if you're going to do any sort of shed like that, it has to be behind the main residential structure. I could be wrong. I spent hours looking for the codes and couldn't find the exact verbiage I needed. So I think I'm done.
Okay, Kelly, very nice presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
How about the other young lady? Would you like to make a talk, please? This is where we break for a commercial. All right, ma'am, if you,
Is there a portable mic? I can look with you.
all right, before you get started, give us your name.
My name is Janet Peters.
Okay.
I live in Piedmont Hills subdivision. I have been there since 1984, and this is the first year that I have seen pink signs going up in my neighborhood pertaining to this kind of issues regarding variances. I'm shocked, actually. And because I am only one block down and to the left from this particular location, the first thing I saw was this coming in. Now, if you'll, next slide, please. This is from down the road near where my home is located as you pull out. It is very prominent. It is the only thing that you see that is close to the roads along Rockbridge Road. Rockbridge Road is considered Fifth Avenue of Piedmont Hills. About 15 years ago, the neighborhood got together and repaired, replaced, and fixed up a large sign that says entrance to Piedmont Hills on Rockbridge Road. We are not a homeowners association, but we do try and keep the neighborhood nice. We paid a lot of money to have that sign redone because over the years it had deteriorated. Next slide, please. He's had this shed there that I have noticed going in and out to and from the stores for quite a few years and quite a few days. And this is not kept inside, it's kept on the outside. I mean, if you're going to have a shed, put stuff in it. He doesn't even have the variance approved, and already there's equipment on the outside of the shed. Next slide. This was taken on a different day. Go ahead. It never moves. Go ahead. This is, again, from the area coming 1 block away from Bell's Ferry. It's nice and green, and again, all you see is the shed. Next slide, please. These are taken on various days throughout the month of July. Go ahead. And I couldn't understand, if he has a shed, why not put stuff in it? Next slide. Again, it's there. The star was very nice. It was a nice touch, but it didn't stay there very long. Go ahead. Now, you noticed on this one, the star is missing. I mean, it just fell off. Go ahead. Again. And these are various times. Then it was put back, which I appreciated. It looks nice. Again, you still have the wheelbarrow. And there is no shrubbery on this side of the shed at all. It's the first thing that you see traveling on Rockbridge Road. Go ahead. Again, it's missing. So it fell off a second time. Go ahead. It's still gone. I just took these throughout the month. Again, it's not, I was surprised it wasn't a permanent structure. It's up on cinder blocks and wood, which surprised me so close to the road. I figured if anything was going to be approved that close, it should at least be permanent. I'm mainly, I think that's the last one. That was one of the first ones I took. As you can see, the shrubbery's only on one side. It's not on the very prominent side leaving the subdivision. As I mentioned, we don't have a homeowners association. I bought there because we don't. So we rely on Cobb County ordinances. I'm worried about the property values. I ride around my subdivision quite often, and we don't really see any structures that close to the road. The other thing I'm concerned with is setting a precedent in the future. If you approve this, and I don't know what it is supposed to be and what it is, because when I called the zoning office, they couldn't really give me any information. But I'm concerned with it setting a precedent. If approval is made on this, can you tell me, is this permanent, or does it have to be renewed every 2 years or 5 years? Or if this structure was approved, is it a permanent structure, permanent approval?
Well, we don't answer questions now. This is
Oh,
just your turn
okay.
to talk.
Well, if it is a permanent approval, then it sets a precedent for anybody else in the neighborhood or associated neighborhoods who want something similar. How would you say no to them? Thank you very much for hearing me. I'm sorry that I had to bring this issue up. And to Mr. and Mrs. Piccone, I am sorry that this has come up like this. I have never come in front of a board for a zoning problem in the time I've been there since 1984. But I'm retired now, so I have the time to come. And I would like to see the community kept up. I'm up in years, thank you for calling me young lady. And I'll probably be moving on in 10 years or 5 years because I have to. So I'd like to keep the property values up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peters. All right, is there anybody else wishing to speak either in favor or against this application of V76? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion. Before I turn the discussion over, let me assure everybody that's here, this board has been out and looked at the property, so we're well aware of what's going on. And I think both the applicant did a very nice job, and both the ladies in the opposition likewise did a nice job. As I indicated earlier, Ms. Williams, who represents the district, is out for the next month. Mr. Skip Gunther is going to take over this particular case. So at this time, I'm going to introduce Mr. Gunther, and he'll lead us in the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing I'd like to do is, John, I'd like to ask Mr. John Peterson, who is head of our zoning department, just to clarify the issues, because I know, Janet, you had some questions, Janet Peters, about exactly what the code is. So, John, could you just clarify for everybody in the audience exactly what the code is that applies to this kind of a structure?
Sure. First, the structure is required to be to the rear of the house, and this one's clearly in the front of the house. There are setbacks for the structure, and there's 3 different sizes that you could have depending on the setbacks. And for this one's 185 square feet, so that means it's got to follow the building setbacks for the lot. So the front setback has to be 35 feet, which it's not, it's at 6 feet. And the side setback has to be 10 feet, and it's at 5 feet. And then, as far as the height of the building, the height's fine, as far as how tall it is. But
Okay.
these are required to be permitted.
So hopefully that clarifies some of your concerns about what the code says. Mr. Picone, when I first saw this, I immediately saw how you were working real hard, obviously, to make it fit in with your house. It has the same kind of design, look, and so forth, and I think you were working hard for that. You also explained to us that you stopped doing any landscaping that you had planned to do once you realized that you had a problem here. There may be another problem. I'd like to call up Dave Braden from Stormwater Management. There may be an easement issue here, and could you explain that to us?
Yes, again, Dave Braden with the Stormwater Management Division. In Mr. Picone's presentation, he did show a picture of, to the right side of that shed, you could see the concrete cover. That is over the end of a drainage pipe, and it is located even though the building is away from the end of that pipe and that cover, it's still located on top of the drainage easement. And our code does not allow structures on the drainage easement either. Actually, the corner of the building is actually over the pipe as well. So this subdivision has been in place for many years. I think the plat 1971. So it will not be many more years before that pipe is going to need to be replaced. And to do that, that structure has to be out of the easement for us to do that.
And the site plan that he submitted with the structure on there actually shows that easement.
Shows the pipe in the easement, that's correct.
And that easement also extends along the, I guess that's the southern edge of his property, up to the, to
Yeah,
about halfway.
there is a little bit of,
Southwest.
because that is still Piedmont Hills, but the street behind them is actually in Unit 2, Section 3 of Piedmont Hills, which was permitted at I believe it was earlier date. And it shows a drainage easement running along that southern property line. But the pipe from this survey actually shows the pipe is actually on his property. So I'm not sure how that happened, but probably because it was years and years ago.
But there is an easement there.
There's an easement associated with that pipe. It's just the pipe is not completely within that easement. Right.
So if he went, in other words, if he went to try to get a permit, we would pick that up and we'd deny a permit to build.
Right.
So we want to get that on the record.
Right.
You've got a serious problem regardless of what it looks like and how it looks. You're on a drainage easement, so that's a big problem for all of us.
Okay, that answers all my questions. Thanks, Dave. I'd like to call the applicant back up, Mr. Picone. I want to emphasize, I think you've tried to do everything right. But as Dave Braden just pointed out, there's an issue with the stormwater management easement there. So there's no question, from that point of view, if nothing else, you would have to move this structure.
Okay.
There's also the code that says that it has to be behind your house. But there are exceptions that we make when it fits in. If it's to the side of the house, but near the back of the house, like specifically on that picture we're looking at right now, just to the south of where the car is parked right there, where the driveway curves into the garage, or maybe behind the garage. Those may be possible locations where it could be moved. I don't know.
Those locations aren't large enough.
Okay, well, then maybe the structure is too large for what you need, for what's available. I don't know. Also, it occurs to me that I know it'd be more expensive, but you could possibly dig out part of the backyard and create a space for it, or create a space up, higher up in the backyard and the trees back in there somehow. In any event, seems like there may be some opportunities for you to redesign where it goes if you were to get an engineer to help you with that. And so what I'm willing to do is consider the idea that we would grant you 30 days to go off and try to redesign a new location, redefine where this could be placed. And if you'd like to do that, I think the board would be willing to grant that to you. Otherwise, I think we're faced with denial.
I mean, I'd be willing to do it. I just, with, what he read off his code as setbacks, 10 feet, there's not on the side of.
Well, but let me just interrupt there.
So, I mean, if you guys would work with me saying,
Yes.
There's a spot here, you could put it, but.
I think what you might want to do is sit down with people in the zoning department and just propose different places for where it could be. And they could tell you, that, okay, that's going to be in violation of the code, but it's only going to need a variance of 2 feet or 3 feet or something. And I think this board, that's what we do, is we grant those variances. And I think if you're back near the back of the house somewhere where it's not right on the road, we would probably be much more amenable to granting a variance for something like that, to have it, as long as your neighbors are okay with it. And the
Yeah,
neighbors would need to be
all my
okay.
adjoining properties touching, signed off that they were fine with it, but.
So if you're willing to go back to the drawing board for, I'm going to say 30 days, I hope that's enough time. If you need longer than that, I guess you could ask for it. But I'm willing to, make a motion that we hold this for 30 days while you go off and redesign a different solution.
Okay,
Is that going to work for you?
I mean, I'll have to.
Okay.
Before you make the motion, let's get a little discussion here. Brian, this is what we're looking at.
May I ask the gentleman with the stormwater just about it? So like looking for up the side, like, what he's talking about and where
Well,
I
first of
can't
all,
look at locations that would.
well, you can't, where it is now, it can't stay.
I
period.
understand that. I just don't know where the pipe that he's talking about.
Well,
you know,
that's where the 30 days comes in. And let me explain to you, the reason there is a variance board, and ladies, the reason you're here is we see requests like this, not this particular request, but similar requests day in and day out, month in and month out. That's what this board is here for. What Mr. Gunther is saying to you is, give you 30 days to get with your neighbors, and even though you have signatures from from your surrounding neighbors, we understand that, but these are also neighbors. Every one of us have looked at it. There's no question it just stands out. It's a sore thumb standing out. Now, we look at your hardship. You have a legitimate hardship. There is, what we can see from the naked eye, we're not engineers, we're not planners, but from the naked eye, we can see where your hardship is. What Skip is going to do is give you 30 days for you to get professional engineering or a surveyor or somebody to help you and to come up with a solution. And if you work with the zoning department, Mr. Peterson's department, you may need a variance. You still may need a variance, but we'd be able to work with you rather than leave it where it is now, and in cooperation with your neighbors that are here today. So that's the solution, and I think it's a very good solution, is what Mr. Gunther has come up with. So we're here to help, and we're also here to protect those folks too. So we're trying to do both things. That's my little comment. Anybody else want to make a comment? Brian?
I really, no comment. I just had one question. I see some kind of a structure in what is your backyard there, and I can't tell what that is.
Looks like a boat.
It's a sandbox.
That's a sandbox. Okay.
And that's because you got babies at home. How old are the children?
I have a 8-year-old and 4-year-old twins.
Twins. Oh,
Oh, you get your hands full.
God bless you. Okay, so let's go. You want to go ahead and make that motion now?
Yeah,
And ladies, do you understand where we're coming from? You have stood up as neighbors. You've given us your opinion. You've also indicated how well he has kept that neighbor, how well he has kept his house, and how he has tried. So we're trying to look for a solution to make you happy, to make him happy, and certainly to make the county happy, because we've got to get you out of that right away. So that's where we're going with this. Go ahead, Chief.
And before you leave today, you might want to talk to Dave Braden just briefly, and John Peterson, if he doesn't sneak out before you have a chance to talk to him. So I'm ready to make a motion. I make a motion that we hold this for 30 days until our next hearing in September.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second, I got a motion, I got a second. No other discussion. Call for the vote. All, everybody signify by voting. We're going to approve that 30-day extension with a 4-0 vote.
Okay.
Before you all leave, you get with your neighbors, you get with everybody we told you to get. Girls, don't leave, all get together. I've got a couple of house cleaning things to take care of that we need to finish off. I need to adopt the minutes from the August the 7th and the July the 24th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I've got a motion to approve those. Second, all in favor, please vote. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our business for today, and we wish Miss Judy Williams health and recovery, and she'll be back next month. With that said, thank you and good day.